Hey guys, I'm Josh Brown.
And I'm Jordan Stevens.
And you're watching the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Let's get right into the episode. Hey guys, welcome to Cars and Health Bars. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about orienting your street car and also going to be getting into some survival truth and Call of Duty topics. With that being said, guys, let's get right into the episode. I've got some top of the show things before we get into the main part of the show here. I want to go ahead and remind you guys that we have the Jared SKR interview next week, so I think that should be a lot of fun. Jared Senior Master 2018 also has a very sick 6.7 Power Stroke. I think that should be a lot of fun. And also wanted to get your guys' opinion if you want to talk into the show. Would you guys like to have live podcasts, maybe broadcast to Twitch or YouTube live? Maybe, of course, our intro and outro won't be edited in because it'll all be live, but just kind of something that maybe might get some more live interaction. Maybe you guys that, want to catch the show early. Of course, we do it the night before if some of you may or may not know. But yeah, give me some input, and I'm kind of curious to see how you guys would take to that.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty interesting. Maybe do some reaction stuff and like the guys from Sick Week, just answering questions.
Yeah, I could see it slowing down the show a little bit, but I have no problem with that as long as the conversation's flowing. I mean,
yeah, as long as it's a good conversation,
With that being said, I guess we can get into the cars topic. I kind of had this idea because I was browsing Marketplace, and you see it all the time where there's just parts on Marketplace where it's I went a different route, or it's too big for my car, injectors, whatever. And it just kind of makes me wonder if people just aren't really pre-planning how they build their car, and I feel like you see that a lot with especially newer I would say LS owners is with camshafts, because people want this big choppy camshaft and this big choppy tune, but then they realize that their stock stall friendly converter is not so stock stall friendly converter with the tune, and then you run into issues with it locking up at red lights, it's stalling out on you. There's a lot of issues that come with that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're buying parts, if you're someone who's not knowledge on cars yet, you're getting into the hobby of owning cars, I've seen it a few times. You did it too, right? You buy the cam and you're like, oh, I need a stall. I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you don't even know that you need valve springs with a cam. You buy just a cam only, So, yeah, definitely, if you're new, I would say get educated on what you're doing, and not just, oh, this is how you put the cam in, but how do different springs react with the cam, right? How do I measure push rod preload, or other stuff that you might need to do when you put a cam in.
Yeah, I definitely did that. Right out the gate, I was like, well, I'm going to put a supercharger on my car without even really realizing how much that would cost. My cam is a stage 2 supercharger cam. And also, I was told by the tuner that it was stock stall friendly, and it was to an extent. It's just you kind of had to watch what you did. Like I said, if I would show up to a red light and if I was about to miss it, I'm like, shoot, I'm just gonna go ahead and lock it up. It would stall out every time, and going from drive to reverse quickly, stall it out. It just was situational. It probably could have ironed out the tune a little bit more, but that's just what I was dealt with.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to deal around some of that, with the tune, and it just depends. If you get a really aggressive cam, it can be hard to tune it out.
Yeah. Whenever I think about a topic like this, I think of Luke a lot, because I feel like Luke impulse buys a lot of stuff for his car.
I was thinking the same thing, and it's no hate on him. I like Luke, and I'm glad he likes cars, but it's something I've seen is him buying cams for his car,
or the carbon fiber drive shaft for the transmission.
I can understand that a little bit. If you want to buy a really quality drive shaft, go ahead. I don't think that's a horrible idea, but I do think his budget could have been maybe less on that drive shaft and put mods somewhere else that he would have liked with that money too.
Yeah. So what about like not necessarily the streetcar stuff, but overall, like I see a lot of people changing their mind about how they set up their car, whether they like be going from street to drag or drag to
Oh
autocross.
yeah,
I mean, you're changing every aspect about the car, and that's whenever I'm talking about pre-planning the orientation of the car. It's like because whenever you go from like a street car to like an autocross or even a drifting car, you're changing a lot of suspension, and that's the big S for me, buddy. That's what I'm afraid of doing any suspension whatsoever. I see too many people getting their chests knocked out with those springs, and it's a lot. And especially with the camber, with the drift stuff. I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into that, like how much camber angle you need. And the same thing could be said with drag racing and how much. What is it that they do on the four link where they have how much is getting pressed down into
pinion
the rear
angle.
tire? Yeah, that and like the adjustable coils.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to get into, and a set of coilovers might work really good in one application, and then another they might not be as good. Just kind of depends on the range of them. I mean, there's like a steering angle kit, you're definitely gonna need that in a drift car, but a drag car, you're never gonna see that. So definitely, some things can transfer over, but I would say you definitely want to have a build in mind, and I think the main thing people don't realize is focus on what you want to do with your car. What is it you really want to do? And build it for that.
I would encourage you to go out into your car community and, let's say you're like leaning on the fence on a drag car. Well, go find somebody, see if they'll like let you go for like, a passenger ride and see how you like it, or like go for a drift run with somebody. It's always good to test the waters because I mean, I can't imagine building your car and then just be like, man, I just ain't about it. I can't imagine that happening to someone. I mean, it's such a huge waste of money and time to just hate that. I can't imagine someone would go that far though to want to like do it and then like get the whole car built and like, yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't imagine being the guy who just dropped like 20 grand on some insane build and then decides, you know what, this wasn't for me. Like it'll eventually kind of move itself into someone else's hands, but it's just I don't know, maybe someone would transfer their car fully over, but I imagine I'd just sell it.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I could see like a YouTuber doing something like that. I mean, Cletus took his Crown Vic from like strict. Well, I guess it was a street car, and then it was a drag car, and then he turned it into a drift car, like full 180 in what it does. And it's if you got money like that, of course you can. Especially if you got to like make different content. If you got so many drag cars, it's time to make something different.
yeah, and I mean to be honest though, Crown Vic's a pretty good platform for all of that, so
Oh
not
yeah.
surprising to see it get transferred over. If you pick a car that you want to own, make sure what you want to do with it is reliable. Like for that car, get something that's a good platform for it.
Yeah,
Get
that's a
something that
whole nother
has
thing.
parts.
Yeah, that's why you see so many people running Fox Body Mustangs at drag races because I mean they're just gosh, that's got to be the top platform. If not, I mean then it's of course the fourth gen Camaro, but those two body styles are the most popular drag platform, and it's just because it's so versatile and easy to get parts for.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I'd even say C5 is getting to the point of like yeah, it's a really great autocross and road course car, but you're seeing it in drag. I mean,
Yeah,
just
I see a
it's
lot
one
of
of those
240s
platforms.
too. And 240s is a very common drift car, but I see a lot of LS swap 240s at the drag strip.
Yeah, I mean, uh, oh, Cletus's tuner, right? Old tuner.
Uh,
He no, someone around him had that one that was really popular, that white one, I think.
I don't know of a white one. I know Cletus's mechanic, James Tall, he has a black 240SX, and that thing is, I think I don't know what LS it's got in it, probably an LSX, honestly, but it's a pretty good car. It's a no-time car, 8th mile. And it's kind of funny, too, because whenever they did this whole, like, drag and drive thing where they bought cars off Marketplace, he got just about the exact same car that he has now, but it's got I think it's got a 6.0 in it, carbureted 6.0, but yeah, it's a black 240. It's been swapped over.
Carbureted.
Yeah, I know, right?
Huh. I wonder why they did that, like...
I'm not sure.
I'm not experienced with much of that, kind of setup, so it just intrigues me to know, like, what's the pros and cons? Kind of, I've never looked into it.
I've got a coworker that has about the same setup in a Pontiac. I think I want to say it's a GTO. It's got a carbureted 6.0 in it. Yeah, I don't know why they do the carbureted. I mean, it's less efficient, but I mean, if you're drag racing,
what are they running? Like Holly or
yeah, Holly Dominator, I believe, or Holly Brawler, whatever Brawler is. I mean, Brawler and Holly's the same thing. Because James's carburetor looked just about like the one I sold off the third gen, his 750 Brawler double pump.
Yeah,
plenty of fuel.
All the fuel. 750 a big carburetor. People
it is. Realize. That's why I had to get rid of it, dude. It was drowned in my 350.
Yeah, a lot of people think, 750, what I need. Like, you probably want a 650, like, max. Brother.
Yeah, you're going to be idling at like $2,000 just to keep it alive. Oh my god! Yeah, I think I might have got mine down to like $1,000, and it was still like trying to put that thing in gear. It's like I'm gonna take off right now.
Yeah, I can just hear it now.
Oh, it was rough. Yeah, orienting your build is really, really important. That's just kind of what we wanted to talk about. I've got a few other small things I want to talk about before we get off the cars topic.
I can think about it with my car. I bought those 391 gears, and then
true.
Oh, here's an LSA blower. I just don't think 391s are gonna work good. I probably would have had them now if I still had that differential. I'd have tried it out, but that just never came. So, that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I bought the, it wasn't really my fault for the orientation, but I bought a 5.3 iron block for my third gen. Probably would have went through with that had it not had, like, the worst ruined bottom end that you could have found. But now I've got a bunch of Gen 3 truck parts laying around. Well, I think I sold the heads, but I still have the intake, throttle body, I think I got the valve covers too. I got rid of the coil packs, but I basically got the top end of a 5.3 Gen 3 5.3 just in my shop just because a bad financial decision.
Yeah.
But I mean, you live and learn. That's
part of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you get. Don't buy non-warranted parts. There's a reason it don't have a warranty if you're buying it from a place. That was a red flag right there. Marketplace is a different story.
When you learn something the hard way, though, you learn it. So
I did.
Take an L, but, you'll grow from it.
And out of that, I got Brian Tooley to say that 5.3 is just as good as his cam grinder. I
think my LS3 turned into a pretty good cam grinder at the end of its life.
That was rough. That was really rough. Isaac still gives you such a hard time about that. He was,
he will.
I can't remember what. We were like, where's Jordan at last night? Because I didn't even realize you were in the other call because we were all playing Call of Duty. And I had my screen big because I was watching somebody stream. And he said something about, gosh, if this team would, I wish this team didn't work as hard as Jordan's LS3 at the end of its life cycle. I was like, God. Gosh. Dude, they were on. Isaac was feeling it last night down there at that, where he was at. Hey, dude, him and Ty, as soon as they got in the call, it was a good 5 minutes straight of them just throwing shades right back and forth. Like, they weren't even in a game. They were just insulting each other back and forth. Isaac was like, well, at least I wasn't defected from the factory. I was like, God.
That's really how it is at Greenwood Ford. Let's go.
No, that's two of my coworkers were in the call, and whenever we got to work, they're like, "Dude, they're like just going at it for 5 minutes." I was like, "Yeah, so that's how it is at
Oh,
their
they don't even
workplace."
know.
I was like, "That's not even the half of it."
Wait till you get Jared and David in.
Oh my god, Jared is.
Dead mom talk. And
Oh
then
my
Josh
god.
Ward, the dead dad talk. It just goes crazy. But you know what? No one is like actually
You,
upset. So.
you would genuinely think that they hate each other with the way
Oh,
they
you
talk to
would.
each other. Like if you were out in public and heard them talking to each other, it'd be like, Jesus Christ, they must like they're
Dude,
worst enemies.
I gotta tell this story that CJ told me today. So CJ and Tyler went to eat Mexican, and CJ had his little girl with him, his daughter.
Yeah.
She's pretty young, and CJ was carrying her out and walking with Tyler out of the restaurant, and this woman was like staring at them, and he said, yeah, I'm gay, and yeah, this is our daughter. Yeah, what are you looking at?
Oh my god.
And she just looked horrified and drove off.
Jeez. No shame.
Oh, that was so funny. I wish CJ could tell it because he told that story so good.
That's awesome. I love that.
Oh, I swear. There's never a dull moment.
No, not with you guys around. There's never a dull moment. So I was talking to my grandpa. Gosh, I think it was a couple days ago, but I was telling him about your setup and how you're going, 416 boost, all that good stuff, and he was like, I was like, yeah. I said, well, I was talking to some guys and they told me that, you start making so much power, and especially with a blower setup, you get so much torque that eventually you'll start spinning that tire off the bead, or that bead off the wheel. And my grandpa was like, yeah. He said, that's been a thing, that's not something new. And I'm like,
no, that's been going on for forever.
I was like, well, I said, do you know about bead locks? He was like, yeah. He said, bead locks been around forever. He said, they're just as expensive now as they was back then. I was like, well, I didn't know that either. We were talking about bead locks, and my grandpa, he prides himself on being cheap. Like, he is like Mr. Krabs. He says that he's so, I can't remember. I think he says he's so tight or cheap that he squeaks when he walks. Anyways, but yeah, we were talking about like, he is all about like solutions to problems without spending any money. It's kind of what I'm getting at here. And he was like, you know how you fix that without buying them expensive bead locks? I'm like, no, how you fix it? He said, he said, all you got to do is take 6 to 8 self-tapping screws. And he said, you just screw them right into the bead through the wheel. God.
Jesus Christ.
He's like, it only takes 6 or 8. I'm like, God, you imagine ruining your wheels for that?
I guess if you're running the old Steelies, you don't care, right?
I guess not. You got them aluminum wheels, just send it on in. That is.
I don't know about that one, dog.
I asked him, I'm like, I was like, what about losing air? He's like, you're in the bead, you're not losing any air. I was like, God, you talking about rip a tire off, dude?
God, you have to be real accurate with that. I don't trust that.
I know. He was like, he's like, that's what we did back in the day. I was like, I don't know how. I was like,
don't believe
that's
it.
crazy.
You pulling your string. Ain't no way. I'm calling cat. I'll have to watch a YouTube video of this or something.
That's some old boomer stuff right there. It's gotta be.
You would see Cletus trying, just
Yeah. And then he was
to call it in.
Dude, he was on one, because after that he's like, so he said, Jordan gonna be doing some street racing? I'm like, yes, I'm sure he will. Mexico in Minecraft. And he was like, what you need to do is, you go to a dollar store and you need to grab you a bottle of Clorox, and you need to take that Clorox liquid. He said, you pour it on them tires before you do that burnout. He said, buddy, he said, you'll either break something or you're going to go real fast. I was like, golly, he's going to have me in dollar store I'm going to be in there with a mason jar just filling up Clorox and just putting them back on the shelf. that really got me thinking because he was telling me the story about his 454, him taking money because he had that nitrous hidden underneath the intake,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, man, I should we should really try to get him to call in one day. I feel like that would be awesome because he was a menace back in his day, dude. He was one of the old time street racers back in, gosh, it would have had to have been the 70s.
I mean, he gonna have to show me how he do them bead locks.
That's crazy.
We'll
Yeah,
get him some footage of this.
that must be some like that's some redneckery right there. Like,
yeah, I want to see this ingenuity.
how do you even come to that conclusion? And he was so like he was really going into it. He's like, now you want to use self tappers because otherwise you got to drill it with a drill. He said, if you do it self tappers, you ain't even got to drill a hole. I'm like, okay. he was.
I'm not doubting that you could self tap through the bead if you didn't puncture the side to side.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, how are you not losing air pressure? Like, it's a screw.
It had to be a thick bead on that sidewall.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That was just insane to me. I was like, that is crazy.
That's just old ingenuity, I guess.
That's just cheaps what that is, dude. He's like, I ain't buying bead locks. I like how he's like, yeah, they're just as expensive then as they are now. I was like, that's rough.
Right.
Oh, dude, bead locks are insane.
They don't make them like they do normal tires.
No, but you ain't spinning no tire with bead locks. I can guarantee that. And they look clean. Man, they look clean.
I'll show
But
you clean. Get my fitching done.
Oh yeah, dude. I really, really, really hope your car's done. If your car's not done spring, I hope it's done summer because we gotta get it, dude.
This is a year.
We're almost done with my flex fuel sensor. I'm ready. But I want to talk about one more thing on the car topic before we jump over, and this is just a small thing, and I honestly wouldn't mind talking to a tuner about it because we're neither one of us are tuners, but I want to see what your opinion is on dyno tuning versus street tuning.
Yeah, when you say street tuning, are you talking about email tune or someone getting your car taken down the street?
I would say, yeah, somebody in like the tuner getting like butt dyno readings because I feel like that's like gives that side of the argument
Not
the
a
better
email
chance.
Gotcha.
Correct, yeah. Tuner's there with car, we'll say.
Yeah, as long as the tuner's with the car there, I kind of like it a little more. I'm not saying that you can't tell an engine's healthy and,
Read sensors.
Just there's just certain visual and audio things that go into, just making sure the car's safe to drive.
And if you have an
leaks, you don't know if this dude's got leaks or nothing,
And if you got an inexperienced driver and you send out like an email tune and dude's not paying attention to what he's doing, he's like getting like super high temps or really bad AFRs and he's still in it.
like tuning ain't gonna help if you got a really lean situations or like a stupid ritual, it might cause some serious problems.
But as far as like street tuning goes versus dyno tuning, how do you feel about that? I'm kind of curious because you used to work for a tuning shop.
Yeah, I definitely like dyno tuning. I never had a problem with my car on the dyno tune. I definitely prefer it over anything that I've had done. I've had a seat time tune too before, so I don't think it's bad either way. I think it's very easy to do a street tune as well.
I will say it. Of course, bang for your buck. It's going to be cheaper to do street tuning because the tuner isn't out. What he owes on his dyno.
Car too, like it's a real load. It's not artificial.
And the car's actually getting airflow. It's what it would be in a actual, like you said, in an actual situation. Driving down the road, and of course, street tuning is going to be cheaper. In my opinion, I feel like dyno tuning is better for, of course, high horsepower builds. And also if you want that number, if you're one of those guys that cares about that number, definitely go get a dyno tune. If you want to know exactly how much power you're making. But if you're just mild
tuning too, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I mean, if you're not, well, we'll say you're in Mexico, but if you get caught, that's a real
Yeah.
bad situation. Like, especially if you don't have a mild built car and like, you're in your power band, you're doing like, triple digits.
Real easy to go south.
Yeah, definitely. Or you might hit a dog. Anyways,
You never know.
but yeah, street tuning, man. I feel like mild built cars. It's definitely if it'll definitely be cheaper because the tuner isn't out money on whatever they owe on their dyno or whatever they charge because of that. But I feel like especially an experienced tuner could probably tell you pretty close to how much power it's making. By guesstimation.
Oh yeah, I'm sure anyone who knows the platform they're tuning pretty good is going to be able to give you a decent, guess on your power level.
I would almost be comfortable with someone like, one of these reputable local tuners. I don't really know much about Matt Sanford. I know James Shore has been tuning for like 30, 35 years. And of course, gosh, what is that other tuner? There's one other local tuner. But, I would almost trust one of their remote tunes, just like you said. They have just so much knowledge that they could probably get you, close. But street tuning, I'd really be fine with street tuning if it was a mild cam build, heads, cam, exhaust. But I feel like there's a lot of fine tuning that goes into it, especially with E85 and making flex fuel tables for 93 and E85.
It's just something that's easier to do on a dyno because you're in a single location, right? You don't have to go out and deal with the real world. It's
Try to
easier to
find a straight
isolate.
stretch,
It's easy to isolate the things that you want to simulate. So
right?
it's
And
really good
weather
for that.
conditions can also not be
Yeah.
ideal.
So if you're in a business, I always think dyno tuning is going to be the better option. It gives your customer more. They know the number.
Yeah,
And
that's a big thing, especially in like the drag racing.
there, there's just a lot more you can get out of it. I think if you're really trying to sell a nice service.
Yeah, and it helps out a lot with promotions because I mean we've seen it before on the TikTok. Anytime we post anything like car related that's on the streets, it immediately shadow bans. So I mean you can't really promote your business if you're getting shadow banned. But dyno videos, phenomenal. Your dyno video, phenomenal.
Yeah, my dyno video did really good.
Dyno videos get a lot of views. Every dyno video I posted has done phenomenal.
I got a bunch of videos on dyno.
Yeah, I've got a few, but man, my wheels have changed so much. It's like I don't think I've gone through a set of tires on one set of wheels before. Like I just go through wheels so often. Like I've
I'll
had
say that.
I've had stocks, I've had the ZL1s, and now I'm on the VMSs. So I've been on 3 rear sets since I got my car.
You still need to bring me them ZL1s too.
Shoot, they are at my shop, aren't they? Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
bring those. I'll bring them Saturday. They're 315s. They still got a little bit of meat on them. Don't you got the fronts, don't you?
I got a lot. I don't have fronts to that.
Oh, I thought you had the fronts to that
No,
set.
that came off a rear subframe from a ZL1.
Right.
I wish I could have got that diff.
Yeah, for real. ZL1 diff, the way to go. I guess we could get into our gaming topic here. I wanted to talk a little bit about. I don't want to take too much time on my topic because Jordan had a topic idea that I think is much better. I feel like we could get a lot more talking out of. But being a coworker, we're talking. He's really big into survival games, like myself, and we were kind of talking, and Jordan probably agrees with this also. But there is a sad, sad truth to survival games, and I think almost every survival game connoisseur can agree that late game is rough, and not just because you're high up there, because that's not the issue at all. The issue is that it just gets boring because you get so built up in a survival game, and it just becomes so easy, especially in like 7 days and Ark. It just becomes less of a grind. There's nothing like risking it all while you have hardly anything. It's like you spent like an hour getting gear and you die, and it's just like my life's over. I don't have a base. I don't have nothing. Now I got to go spend. I got to spend like hours trying to get my stuff back. It's like Ark. It's like a freaking death trial trying to get to your stuff before it despawns. And then
Dude.
at the same time, you're making more spawns, more beacons in the sky. It's just like dying in Ark early game is the worst thing ever, but it's so fun.
It's an event.
It's like, and then your original beam of light goes away, and you're just trying to remember where it was to begin with.
It's like an in-game hide and seek event.
Oh my god! No, the worst thing is whenever like you see a bag sitting on the ground and like a beacon of light, you're like, there it is, and it's like the tame you were riding. It's just got a bunch of berries in it. Bro.
My parasaur.
And like, meanwhile, the thing that killed you to begin with is still somewhere in the area. So like,
it ain't magically disappeared. It's still out there.
It's the worst time ever trying to get your stuff back on Ark. I swear.
If you're on a mountain too, just forget it.
Oh yeah, because then at that point you're fighting the environment
Scorpions.
too. Yeah, scorpions. Oh my god.
If you're a fresh spawn, yeah, good luck.
Don't let me catch you in the hard area. You will get put in Big Bill Cole's pond.
You don't want in there. I have a cage.
It'll keep you just at drowning. That was diabolical.
What?
That was diabolical having that set up. You're just barely drowning. We had a guy in there for so long, dude. He'd log in and that's where he'd be. Like he just occasionally logged back in just to see if we got wiped out, and he got freed, and he's just like, nope, still stuck.
Like, man, guess I'm not on this server today. My God.
Yeah, the game that I was kind of thinking about was like, there's this game called Green Hell. It's on sale right now. Trevor just got it. Dude, that game is so brutal. I can't imagine what late game is like, but dude, I had to turn enemies off. Like, I had it on peaceful mode, and I was still struggling insanely bad. That game is that difficult. Jesus. Like, the environment hates you. You gotta always be checking your arms and legs for leeches, or you'll get a disease.
Holy crap.
There's only certain medicinal plants that work, which are very difficult to find. Same thing with making bandages. There's only a certain plant that you can make a bandage out of. Dude, it is like...
It's realistic, huh?
Yeah, and you got to think in a survival situation, the rainforest is up there with one of the worst places to try to live, like, and survive.
For sure.
Like, it is rough. And then, like, with enemies on, I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but I would finally find an area where I'm like, all right, this is good. This is a good base. And just, like, something would just show up and murder me. It'd be like a pig, a snake, like anything. A tiger. If there's, like, a tiger or lion in there, he's, like, always messing you up. And on top of that, there's, like, these, like, local tribe members that, like, come and mess you up. It's just, like, everything's against you in that game. That is the hardest survival game. Members? Yeah. And they'll, like, come hunt you down. They're like, yeah, they come kill you. It's kind of like Forest a little bit, but they're not like cannibals. It is
like fun.
It is the most difficult. Dude, it's like $8 on Steam right now. Me and Trevor got it. It's the most difficult. If you like a challenge in a survival game, it is the most challenging survival game I've ever played. It's up there with Zomboid, but of course it has much different graphics and everything than Zomboid.
Yeah, Zomboid is a whole beast in of itself. If you have never heard of it, you might want to check that out. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, they just had a humongous update that made it like a million times harder because like now there's exhaustion. So like you start running from the zombies for so long, you eventually just get exhausted and can't run for like a while. It's like, jeez. And it's kind of funny, too, because that game, I don't think by default the zombies sprint at you, which immediately in your mind think, well, that's easy. I could just walk away from the zombies. These zombies follow you for miles. Like, they don't stop until like, you are in cover and hidden. Like, the game is so in-depth. You got to, like, put blankets over the windows to keep them from seeing inside whenever they're just walking by. Oh, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's about as realistic as a zombie simulator as I've seen, but... You know, the graphics, of course, really take away from it at, you know, on base value. You look at that, you're like, oh, this looks like an 8-bit game. But the fundamentals in that game is insane.
Some of the, you know, games with not the fanciest graphics are my favorite.
Yeah, Castle Miner. What was that? What was that Call of Duty game you were into? Pixel Strike or something?
Oh, that ain't like, that's just a mobile game.
Oh. Yeah, a lot of the games that have just the really bad graphics ended up just being
Among Us,
really
look at
fun
that.
games. Among Us, yeah.
Even Fortnite, I wouldn't say its graphics are like stupid crazy.
Yeah.
Isaac,
Isaac's not. Yeah, Isaac's
Seven
really old
Days,
though. Yeah, 7 Days is a prime
Minecraft. I
example.
mean, just think about it.
Yeah, 7 Days is a prime example of a game that looks absolutely horrible, but it is a phenomenal game. Uh, I guess we could talk about what you wanted to talk about, the where you see Call of Duty heading in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that the community's been, dealing with the recent, I don't know if you call it drama or what, but just the latest COD, it's obviously not been doing well. Player counts are really down. I think this is probably I don't know if it's actually a record or not, but it is really low. I wouldn't doubt if it is a record. And it seems like a lot of people are just fed up with this game, and there's a lot of cheaters. I've certainly not ran into this many cheaters on a game, not even halfway through its life cycle in a long time. So, yeah, the cheater problem is pretty insane considering their anti cheat is supposed to be so good. And a lot of people are just frustrated with this game, and, I want to see where people think it's headed. Where's
I-
this franchise headed?
I'm kind of blown away by a lot of things that this Call of Duty has done differently. Like we said in the previous episode, the like, gosh, 2 or 3 week long double XP weekend at Christmas time, like that's unheard of. Especially like the as greedy as they are with those double XP tokens, making you burn up time while you're in a
Oh,
lobby.
yeah.
Like that was insane. And not only that, but for some reason we don't get season 2 until like halfway through the game's life cycle. That's kind of crazy. And granted, we did get a season 0, but it just seems crazy that we're just now getting a season 2 in February. And the game's, I think the new Call of Duty is going to be out in November, or October even.
Yeah, it's definitely like, you know, we got a while.
This Call of Duty's just doing a lot of different things that are kind of alarming. Like it just kind of gives off vibes that they're really not doing well, like you said, in the community, and they notice.
They definitely know. I mean, they're looking at the numbers. That's what they do.
I feel like if they didn't put Call of Duty on Game Pass, oh my god, the amount of people that wouldn't have gotten that game is probably crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't a free to play, I just, another thing I kind of wanted to get at when I said, what do you think the franchise is going to do? What about, returning back to different kind of movement, or even
Yeah,
just other types of gameplay? What kind of things do you think you might see? Because a lot of people don't talk about that.
I think Call of Duty would be too afraid to do something like that because of, yeah, they went off the beaten path and did it with advanced advanced warfare, infinite warfare, and Black Ops 3, and they got such huge backlash, especially in the beginning with advanced warfare and infinite warfare. I just can't see that they would want to take that risk again because of the backlash. But a lot of fans like me and yourself would really enjoy to see that movement come back. And even like Black Ops 4, when they changed it to 5v5 multiplayer and everybody hated that, or not, maybe not everybody, but a good majority of the audience. I feel like those fans have made Call of Duty so afraid to go off the beaten path that all they can do is make these like Modern Warfare 2019 knockoff games just
Yeah,
to keep
I
a
mean,
certain fan base alive.
I think people definitely hated that movement when it first came out. Those first two games, especially. Some people didn't, but there was definitely a good portion that were like, where did this come from? And I just kind of think, different gameplay elements aren't always a bad thing. I just kind of curious, like, why doesn't COD try to switch some of that up? Like, yeah, the Levolution failed, and you could say Exo Movement didn't do so well, but there's still so many other ideas I'm sure they could implement. I'm sure they got a department that does kind of think about this kind of stuff, and I just don't see much of it online.
In my opinion, of course they slammed us with the exo movement with back to back to back CODs. I would have loved it so much more if they had spaced that out. Just gave us a break from the boots on ground monotony of like the past 3 or 4 Call of Duty games we've gotten with half of them being horrible. Vanguard included. I wish they would space that out so like we would get a serious COD game that's boots on ground. It's gritty. It's everything seems realistic, and then they give us like a game like Black Ops 3 where it is exo movement. It's futuristic. It's different. It just feels like we've been getting the same COD games like for the past 5 years, man.
Yeah,
Especially out of
yeah.
Treyarch or Infinity Ward, man. The last several Infinity Ward games or Sledgehammer Infinity Ward just been terrible. They just been the same remakes.
Vanguard, bro. I cannot stand that COD.
Yeah, I agree. Vanguard,
That
Modern Warfare
thing,
2, 3.
God, that game just got me. It just always was. That was an irritating COD.
Yeah, they really followed in the footsteps of like the early Call of Duty games whenever Modern Warfare 2 and 3 came out because gosh, dude, 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 like 2023, they just feel like the same game. Like they really did recreate what it was like back in the day. It just feels but it's like it's not as good obviously as it was back in the day, but it just feels like the same game with like a few different tweaks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 originally when they advertised it, it was like, oh, it's going to be the maps from MW2 are going to be a multiplayer, and they never were.
Yeah, I know. Like they really dangled that in front of
was
us.
more like MW2 in that sense, and I was just like, what is this? Like, did no one else think that was dumb? Like maybe they're just milking out as much content as they can out of the same reused slot. Like I guarantee you, if you go on YouTube, you will find some reused animations and stuff like that. Like it is out there.
I really do hate to say this, but I do miss the days in like Black Ops 2 whenever you had to pay for a DLC, but you got decent maps. Like,
Dude,
if you don't
the
like the
base
maps, don't
maps on
buy it.
this COD suck.
I wouldn't say they suck, but I would say half of them do, yeah. And the newest one, that dealership map,
They just don't
sucks.
flow good.
No, they don't. Especially like usually if your team is like doesn't have like objectives, of course you lose map control, but it just feels so easy to get in the worst spawn traps ever on maps that shouldn't be able to hold a spawn trap in.
Yeah. There's definitely an issue with the matchmaking too, and why COD hasn't experimented more with that, I'm surprised because it is known to be hated.
Yeah, I feel like I could speak a good bit on Black Ops 6. I don't know how many hours I have on the game, but I did recently hit Prestige Master. I mean, I've played the game a lot, and I definitely agree with that. The matchmaking is absolutely horrible, and I don't know, man. Like, I'll play in a lobby with people that are lower skilled than me, and of course, I'll do great. And I'll get in a lobby by myself, and it's just like, where did these guys come from? I get I need to get better, but I also want to enjoy my game. Like, I don't want to be going like, super, super negative in my lobbies. Like, I understand there's people that's going to be better than me, but I shouldn't be getting put in with people that are like level 20 because they reset their account from getting, hack banned on
Yeah.
their main. And it just seems like
And
that's the biggest
that's
issue in mine in your lobbies.
God, dude. It's like, oh, there's a pack of 3 that are level 20, and this game's been out how long now? And you're level 20, yeah, makes sense to me.
And you're doing much better than me as somebody that's
Yeah.
got 300 hours in the game, Prestige Master, and you're doing better than me at level 20. Yeah, I'm sure there is a possibility of you just now getting the game late, but the possibility of you being a hacker that lost their original account are a lot greater than that.
Agreed. Someone
And it
who's
just
not good at Call of Duty is not going to be waiting that long to get the game, I feel like.
it's so obvious too. It's almost like okay, it's like there should be some sort of anti cheat in play that says, "Hey, you're this level, you're this good. Let's investigate." Like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, it'd have to be so long after the game's release.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But like something implemented like right now, we're halfway through the life cycle. We got players that are level 20 and that are dog walking you of all
I think,
people.
I think there would have to be a case by case basis on that, just because for some reason some dude Lost his account. Had to make a new one.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Not like full on like press them, but like yeah, run some anti cheat through that account real quick. Don't like shut their account down or nothing. I don't know. I love those memes whenever it's just like you got those guys walking past the security guard and it's like Treyarch's anti cheat and it's just like this hack, walls.
He's
Just
like,
letting
"Oh,
them on
come
in.
right through."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Perfectly normal here. Oh, but this guy's doing too good. We got to nerf his damage.
Yeah, he got Jordan over here. Oh god, he got a new class game. Yeah, that ain't happening again, buddy.
Homie got 2 and I ain't got 1 again.
That's rough. I want you to get a nuke in one of my lobbies so bad, but I just feel like you've got to be like the star of the team and get the majority of the kills for that to happen. Unless we play like Dom or something with a high kill game.
To do it in a real world and not one where you get boosted lobbies, there's going to be a few things that just play out right. It's not just you got to be a good player and recognize certain things.
I think my highest kill streak was either 20 or 19. I was getting there. I mean, of course, 30 is what you got to get to, but man, that's the closest I'd gotten. I'm like, I'm feeling nuky right here, and then just
if you play good, you can just body people sometimes. Like Skunk got the first nuke in ranked, and that is an accomplishment because people are trying in that.
Yeah, and there's only 4 people on each team, 4 or 5.
I'm doing it in pubs, it's not the same.
Yeah. Man, a ranked nuke is kind of insane.
It is. Like, if you're dropping 30 kills in ranked, homeboy, go off.
In one life, that's insane.
Yeah.
30 kills in ranked alone, I feel like wouldn't be that. Especially if you were playing against people that were your rank, like you're supposed to be doing. I feel like it'd get kind of difficult to get that many kills unless it was in like a domination or a high kill game. I don't know what games are on there. I played one match of ranked just to see what it was like, and man, the limitations on your classes are insane. Like it's just like you can't use nothing. You can only use there's only one secondary you can choose from, and I think it's like the worst pistol in the game. And there's only so many assault rifles. There's like very, very limited guns you could use. I don't think you could use shotguns at all or snipers. It's very, very limited, man.
Yeah, I remember there's only 2 ARs. Yeah, they limit you. Kind of the last thing I want to ask about Call of Duty 2 is where do you see the campaign going? Do you think we're going to keep following new inventions of the same storyline, or is it going to be a fresh script? We've certainly seen both.
Have you played the campaign yet?
No, I haven't, but I know about it.
Oh no, I don't. I haven't played it yet, but I'm really hoping I just get sick one day or 1 week and I can just grind it one day out of work. From what I've heard, it's incredible, and I hope that they continue it because Treyarch's always just been really good storytellers. Like they have the best campaign. I have so much respect for them not doing a campaign on Black Ops 4 because it's just like if you genuinely think you can't make something good, then don't make it, and I respect that a lot.
Because Black Ops campaign so far has been a banger.
Yeah, they're just like, hey guys, we ain't got it this time. Like, okay, that's fine. You could have a year off. Like you've killed it every other time. You can have a year off.
They haven't had one bad year.
For real. Like, why ruin your perfect streak? I'd rather you miss a day than have a mess up your perfect streak. I don't want to be like, yeah, Black Ops 4, worst campaign ever. I'd just rather be like Black Ops 4, no campaign, respect. Yeah, man. One aspect that I really like about Treyarch, and I'm not sure how many campaigns do this, but I really like it whenever Treyarch is cheeky and they sneak zombies into their campaigns. Yeah. I love that. That is like, I know they did it in Black Ops 3 because at the end you're like, I think you're going through all the like memory phases, and it's just like for some reason there's Nazi zombies. They're like, oh god, okay, or maybe it was Vietnamese zombies. I think it was Vietnam zombies. But anyways,
that was in Cold War.
Was it? Okay, yeah, that's right, because Adler's messing with your head. That's right. Yeah, I'm excited to play the campaign. I heard there's like a good like hour-long bit you play in like some laboratory in Kentucky with like, I can't remember what he told me, but I'm excited to play that part.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I haven't seen all of it. So, also when you do, Shadows of Evil is playing in that one scene.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, the song I showed you.
Oh, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look that up again, dude. Don't they better not tease us with no Shadows of Evil.
They just have the song. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I respect the
mentioning map at
throwback.
all. But they got the music.
I respect the throwback, man. What a base map Shadows of Evil was, dude. I'd pay money just to play that game like alone. Like they'd been like, hey, you got to pay like $30 to play Shadows. I'd be like, take my money. Oh, it was so good. But yeah, guys, that's all we have for this episode. Of course, Jared's interview is next week, and the following week we should be talking to the Quarter Mile Podcast guys, and then the week after, possibly talking to the Drag Drive Repeat guys. So should be hitting you with some interviews back to back to back, and then we'll be back at you with just me and Jordan, and it'll probably just be a recap of all those interviews. So you've got that to look forward to,
and maybe some build updates.
Maybe some build updates. Oh yeah, and I am meeting with a tuner towards the end of the month, so possibly have a pretty reputable tuner on the page again. So yeah, a lot of things to look forward to. It's going to be a good year to be a Cars and Health Bars fan. We're going to be doing a lot this spring, and it's going to be I just have a feeling it's going to be one of the best car seasons we've had. I just got that feeling.
We got to line it up.
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, we will catch you in the next one.